Live from the Treasure Island, this is the VGK Insiders Show.
Off the face-off, Golden Knights work it to the line. Theodore loses the handle. Eichel's long shot scores with just 5.6 seconds left. That was tipped in front. Anaheim was that close to what would have been their first shutout in 170 games.
With Darren Millard and Ryan Wallace on Fox Sports Las Vegas.
Welcome in, Vegas Golden Knights Insider Show, Fox Sports Las Vegas. Ryan Wallace hanging out at the Golden Circle Sportsbook and Bar inside TI. Darren Millard, he's hanging out at Studio 31, and Jared Justice is back inside the Richard Harris Law Firm studio. It's a game day. How are we doing, boys?
We got a lot coming your way today in a 90-minute edition of the VGK Insider Show. Face-off just after 6:30 at the Honda Center in Anaheim, so we're cut short just a little bit to make way for Ryan's big pregame show. Dave Gosher is going to join us from Southern California. He's on the road with the VGK. We will also hear from John Tortorella in just a little bit, his game day media availability, and we know going into it that there's going to be a change, at least one change with the lineup, as Dylan Coghlan will make his Stanley Cup playoff debut tonight, and he will step in with the team that he broke into the National Hockey League with, and then spent 3 years in Carolina and Winnipeg, and then rejoined the organization this past year. But he's going to make his Stanley Cup playoff debut with the Vegas Golden Knights. A little full circle moment for Coghlan, stepping in for Caden Korzak.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a really cool opportunity in front of Dylan Coghlan. We kind of look at him as a player. We know that he's got a tremendous shot, and he can get back to pucks and make good initial reads in terms of just trying to break out, where that's an area John Tortorella has talked about over the last couple of days of where he wants to see the team improve, get back to pucks a little bit quicker. That is an aspect of Dylan Coghlan's game that he can bring to the table.
He has a cannon. There's quick shots, then there's hard shots, and then there's something sort of a combination of them both. Coghlan would be closer to the combo. It gets there really fast, sometimes faster than you expect, and it is hard. He hit me in the top of the shoulder this year, practice over in Henderson, and it didn't hurt. Like, fortunately, I had the good gear on, but man, like, it's one of those ones where you go, everything working again? All right. It's working. Like it's the first time that I faced him in that environment, and so look for that. Like it is going great, and I loved what he had to say this morning in his media availability. Dave Gosher had a chance to catch up with him, and he said he came back to the VGK organization this year. Different system, kind of got his head around it and picked it up about halfway through the year and just went on a roll. And that's sort of when Henderson took off this year. They were able to hang in there the front part of the year and then just motored with the pedal down in the back half of the season. And Coghlan said he's playing the best hockey of his career right now. Just really comfortable on the ice, and hopefully that can translate into tonight. Part of his game is that shot. He likes to shoot. He likes to create chances in front. So he's got that part of it. And on the other side, he's a great skater, and he's in his own admission, has taken a pretty big stride on the defensive side of the game. So I think it's there's a lot to like about Dylan Coghlan, who is up from the Henderson Silver Knights and will be inserted in the lineup tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of touched on it, right? Like, he's feeling really good about where his game is at, and he should. He's had a tremendous season down in Henderson. Really, the back half of the year was a big piece for
best
what
season of his
Silver
career.
Knights were for what they were able to do. So, you've got a player that has certain skills that you can't really teach. The shot, you can't teach that. It just explodes off of his stick. You mentioned the skating ability. I think that's something the Golden Knights can absolutely use in this series. So let's give it a shot. Let's see what it looks like with Dylan Coghlan in the fold. And hopefully for the Golden Knights, they can feed off of it.
Making a lineup change on the heels of putting William Karlsson into the fold for the start of this series. So a couple of different wrinkles as we've gone along here in the last 3 games for the Vegas Golden Knights. And for Coghlan, expected to be paired with Ben Hutton, I assume, to start tonight. The other 2 pairs pretty consistent and locked in, have played a lot of minutes, been leaned on in the first 2 games of this series. So that real opportunity, and this is one of those mile marker games for Dylan Coghlan. This is if you want to relate it to the regular season, like this is sort of your rookie lap playoff edition. They don't do rookie laps in the Stanley Cup postseason, but he's making his Stanley Cup playoff debut. A lot of games, a lot of as he said this morning, a lot of watching playoff games with teams that he's been on, Carolina or Winnipeg and Vegas before. He's been part of taxi squads and extras, and tonight, at this stage of his career, he gets that opportunity, and I'm excited to see what he can do. If you're trying to generate offense, this guy can do it from a top 6, top pairing, bottom pairing. Point of view. He's really a skater, sees the ice well, and with that shot, he's a threat to generate or create offense with that shot, whether he scores on the blast himself or whether it creates a little bit of chaos in front of the net. So that's one of the sort of attributes that we'll look at tonight for the Vegas Golden Knights as they try to find their rhythm. I think their best game is still to come, or their best game has to be to come. Given what we saw in the first 2, you get that split, but you want to be able to take it up a level or 2.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for the Golden Knights, like, you want to get better game over game as the series wears on, and generally speaking, I think the Golden Knights have shown in their history that they can do that. Now, you're not in a position right now tied 1-1 where it's complete desperation mode, but I would expect that the Golden Knights would like to be a lot better here in game number 3 than they were in the first 2 games of this series.
Well, big difference in the Utah series to the first 2 games of the Anaheim series has been offensive opportunity. They were able to score almost 4 goals a game against Utah. They're averaging 2 goals a game in the first 2 games against Anaheim. Shots on goal have been trimmed by a significant margin from the Utah series to the Anaheim series, roughly by 10 per game. Defensively, they're good. They're allowing fewer goals per game. Shots are almost even, but they just have to do a better job creating opportunities, and when they get those, to be able to put them in the back of that. The expected goals is around 3, so they're getting more chances than they're able to put through, but even the expected goals, they would like to be up above the 3 mark.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that kind of couples with, again, one of the areas that John Tortorella has talked about more conceptually than anything else, and that's having the puck more, playing with the puck more in the offensive zone. We talked about it with the Utah series when the Golden Knights were able to lean on Utah. They created breakdowns. They created mistakes. They were able to take advantage of those mistakes, get to the front of the net, and score. You want to see that in games 3 and 4 here in this series.
I'm curious to see what kind of Anaheim team we're going to see tonight, Sunday, going forward, because they're much more responsible defensively in the first 2 games against Vegas than we saw against Edmonton, and they have taken a massive jump from the regular season as well. So was that the new Anaheim Ducks that we saw at T-Mobile Arena for games 1 and 2, in which they were able to hold the Vegas Golden Knights in check offensively, or was it a blip? I'm still in a wait and see position on that to see just how much staying power this defensive posture that the Anaheim Ducks have put forward, how much staying power it has.
Are you kind of on the side of it's going to break down as the series wears
on?
Well,
history suggests it has. Nobody had a more up and down season this year than the Anaheim Ducks. Because they were great out of the gate. They hit it low. So they were down in wild card spots or third in the division, or they were leading the division by as many as 5 points. They had wild stretches of inconsistency, whether it was really, really good, and you thought, boy, this could be one of the best teams in the National Hockey League, to, are they going to miss the playoffs? Are they in doubt? And there was some doubt down the stretch with the Anaheim Ducks. They limped into the playoffs and then were able to find their game. So it's almost like when they're playing good, you got to stretch them out a little bit, and because eventually it will turn. And the coaches know when it's going bad for Anaheim that it'll eventually they'll find their rhythm. But it's not a one good game, bad 2 games, good 3 games, bad 2 games. Like there's not a back and forth in that where they just alternate wins. It's like they're an all or nothing team this year.
Sure.
So on the defensive side of it, the question you had about the defensive posture, which has been really good for the first 2 games, incredibly impressive what they've been able to do. Is that a situation where it runs its course? And tonight we should get a good example of whether or not it's there for the long haul, or whether there's some holes in that area of their game.
Yeah, I do wonder about it, right? Because I think for the Ducks, they have to be responsible in their own zone to win this series. I don't see another way around it, because if they start to take some chances, or if they have those breakdowns, the Golden Knights are too good of a team.
I still think they're taking chances. They're still taking chances, but they're better in zone. They're just better.
They're just not defending enough. They're just not having to defend enough in their own zone.
They're cleaner in their own zone. That's where they're cleaner.
And so, I don't know that they felt they needed to be as clean in their own zone against the Edmonton Oilers, because they knew they'd be able to put goals on the board. They knew they'd be able to score. I think it's a little bit of a different story. You have to be a little bit more methodical against the Golden Knights. I wonder, I don't know if this is for sure, but I wonder if this is a buy-in from the team in how they have to play in order to give themselves the best chance against Vegas.
Well, I think there's buy-in for them, just whether they can continue to execute it. I don't think this is a team that's going to ignore Joel Quenneville or start freelancing off of Joel Quenneville's game plan. My question about them is whether they have the consistency, the experience to be able to keep doing it. There can be a difference between following the game plan and just not simply able to execute it, or as opposed to going off and doing your own thing. I think they all want to do their thing, and they've made lineup changes that exhibit that. If you're not able to execute the game plan, Joel Quenneville is going to take you out of the lineup, and we saw that in the Mason McTavish decision to take him out of the lineup. So I think that it's just whether they're able to maintain it is more what I'll be watching for. I do not question at all whether they bought in.
Yeah, I guess I don't know that I meant that as a question. I'm just saying I feel like you have to be more responsible against this Golden Knights team. I don't think that you can approach the game with the same type of game plan against Edmonton as you need to have against the Golden Knights. Now, whether or not they can maintain it, I think has more to do with Vegas finding their game than it does the Ducks. Because if the Golden Knights aren't possessing the puck in the offensive zone, I don't think that you're going to see the Ducks crumble in maybe a way that you would expect them to before the series started.
You want to make Anaheim want to take chances. And they do cheat for offense. They love the transition game. But if you can put them in a position where they're looking to cheat instead of taking advantage of opportunities to blow the zone, that puts you into an advantageous position. To do that, you have to convert in Vegas. has to convert on more zone time. They have to capitalize on more opportunities and putting the puck in the net. If you put Anaheim on their heels a little bit, then they do have to play catch up. Then they do look to cheat a little bit, and you know what I mean by that word. That will create opportunities for a very defensive responsible team in the Vegas Golden Knights. So a lot of it is predicated on the Golden Knights finding their rhythm offensively. Yeah. John Tortorella spoke earlier today. Let's get to him. We've got Dave Gosher coming up in hour 2 from Anaheim. So we'll normally would play John Tortorella just after 5 o'clock, but Gosher has trumped the coach. He's bumped the coach, so to speak. But let's get into what John Tortorella had to say earlier today prior to Game 3.
You guys have obviously had some success on the road, including your last road game. What sorts of things do you look forward tonight? Are your teams heading in the right direction?
Yeah, I'm glad we're on the road. I think that'll help the group. In a general thought, we need to have the puck more.
You said you've been here before, obviously, looking back to the last series. Is that messaging from you kind of more of the same, like, hey, we've been here? Is that what you're...
Yeah, well, they know they've been here before, but sometimes circumstances of what we need to do to succeed now is different than the last series. So, again, I'm not going to give you guys a lot of information when I tell the guys, but we have a few things we need to be better at. It's something we can control, which is good news, and we're going to try to do that.
Is puck possession more of a mindset?
Yeah, like I said, we need the puck more. If you have the puck, they don't have it.
When you get it, how much different do you think the games are going to look?
I have no idea. We'll see if we get it.
Anything new in the lineup, Chair?
Coughlin in. Yeah, and Lousey's out.
Is Lazan on the trip, or do you expect him to?
I mean, Corsi's out, excuse me. Yeah. I don't even know if Lousey's on the trip. I don't even know.
What is it about the road that can galvanize a team?
Well, I think you're together as a team more. I think it brings in a little bit more focus. It's just good. Sometimes I think in playoffs it's easier to play on the road than at home.
Did you like what you saw for some of the tweaks the other night up front, anyways, with putting Bill on a different line?
Yeah, I liked. Yeah, I'm still not sure what the line's going to be, but I thought they had some good shifts in the third period, and we'll bang it around today before the game starts and see where we go with it.
How many viewings of Coughlin have you been able to, or is that more leaning on the coach?
It's leaning on the coaches. I've watched some tape. A lot of positive feedback on him. I think Corsi's just struggled a little bit in certain situations. I don't think he's been terrible, but we just want to change, and we'll see where we go with it.
In your experience towards it, in the playoffs on the road, the teams have a tendency maybe to even simplify their games. Does that make it not easier to win, but increase your odds a little bit?
That's the big hockey line, right? Yeah. When you go on the road, you simplify. I hope so. I just think it's, they're together, they're watching games the night before. I think that the camaraderie and talking about what happened in the last game, maybe power play groups talking with one another without coaches. I think that helps when you're on the road in your hotel. We've got a great setup. There's a room downstairs. They all get together. I think all that helps before you play the next game.
With Coughlin, how much does it help you have a guy on each pairing that can let one go with a shot like that?
Yeah. I'm not so much as far as concerned about the shot. I think we need to defend better, defend harder, get the puck up the ice quicker. The comments I've received and the information I've received, he's a really good player. So we'll see where it goes.
John Tortorella from earlier today as the Vegas Golden Knights get set for Game 3 of this best-of-7 series against the Anaheim Ducks. The team's coming off a split back in Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Torts, right, like the idea of getting on the road, just going and trying to simplify the game is an important one going into this one. Leaning into the idea of Anaheim and how they approach this game. Like, is there a want for the Ducks to put on a bit of a show in front of their home fans? Can the Golden Knights take advantage of that? Can you catch them in a certain spot or a scenario where they're looking for offense, maybe more than being responsible. Time will tell, but I think for John Tortorella, like, listen, for the group, get on the road, try to simplify things, and put together your best game.
We'll get a little scouting report on Dylan Coghlan. What kind of season has he had? Where are the big bonuses, pluses of putting him into the lineup? We'll join Brian McCormick, the voice of the Henderson Silver Knights from Loveland, Colorado, as the Silver Knights take on the Colorado Eagles tomorrow night in Game 4 of that best-of-5 American Hockey League series. Brian McCormick coming up, plus Dave Gosher on deck. It's the VGK Insider Show on Fox Sports Las Vegas.
Time now to saddle up with the HSK. Our weekly check-in with the Henderson Silver Knights.
Got Stanley Cup playoff action in Anaheim tonight. Vegas Golden Knights against the Ducks in Game 3 of this second-round series, all tied up at 1. It's a day off for the Henderson Silver Knights, who will resume playing the Calder Cup playoffs tomorrow night against the Colorado Eagles. Game 4 of that best-of-5 second-round series in the American Hockey League, and the Colorado Eagles lead it to 2-1. With more on what's happening up in Loveland, Colorado, here's Brian McCormick. 2 days off in Loveland. Now, what's everybody doing to fill the time? I take it 1 day's a day off and 1 day's a practice day.
Yeah. So yesterday was a quiet day. The guys got a little bit of recuperation. Today the team practiced. There's a practice rink that's really about 4 minutes away from Blue Arena. I never knew it was there, so nice discovery. But they gave her about an hour today, and now get ready for must-win game tomorrow. So I think for the Silver Knights, coming off a shutout loss in Game 3, where they never really got much going. In the third period, they were able to establish a little bit more, but at that point, I think the Eagles were playing a little more of a not defensive shell, but they had the game in hand and they weren't taking any chances. Silver Knights were able to get a little bit of a push, but nothing from it. So that game, certainly a little frustrating, and when you find yourself in a must-win situation, I think a couple of days between Games 3 and Game 4 is beneficial.
It's been a goalie duel in this one between Carl Lindbaum and Trent Miner. What's holding back the HSK offense?
Well, it is a good defensive Colorado team. It has been all season. And, Trent Miner had a strong season. But, coming into this series, he had played the Silver Knights 4 times in the regular season. He had a shutout and a .942 save percentage against the HSK. So now in this series, he has 2 shutouts. So he's certainly played the Silver Knights very well individually. But again, in Game 3, he faced 10 shots in the third period. He faced 10 shots in the first 2 periods combined. And 3 of those shots in the first 2 periods were, neutral zone dump-ins that went on net. So it really was a challenging first 2 periods for the Silver Knights. Yeah, I think there's a couple of factors. The 1-0 loss in Game 1 was a really, really good hockey game, and the Silver Knights had 18 shots in that game, but it was a low-event game, and it was it's a very experienced, veteran, stifling Colorado team defense. So, Game 1 was an introduction to the series, and both teams played well, and somebody's got to lose. Game 2, a lot more volume, a lot more success for the Silver Knights in getting to the net. It took 2 overtimes, but they were able to pull out a win. Game 3 was the Silver Knights' first road game of the postseason, which is kind of unusual. You get 5 games into the playoffs. You get 5 games into the playoffs before you go on the road. Yeah. So I think that's an adjustment. I think, players will never use this excuse, and it's not an excuse. When you hear players talk about playing in Colorado and the altitude and the adjustment that is, it's never as much of an adjustment, I think, as the fans think it is, but it's not nothing either. And for the Silver Knights, the first period on Wednesday night, they didn't have a shot for almost, I think, the first 10 minutes of the first period. The second period, they didn't have a shot for the first 14. The Eagles, the first and second period, just came out with a ton of jump and a ton of energy, and I think gave the Silver Knights a little trouble, settling the game down. And the second period especially, I think that pressure and that the long change combined, the Silver Knights' 2 goals they gave up were the result of D-zone turnovers. So, that's been a challenge for sure. Blue Arena is a very difficult place to play. As a matter of fact, the Silver Knights haven't won in this building since November of 2023. So it's a tough tough place to play. So all those factors, I think, just made for a really challenging environment for Game 3. And all the more reason why a couple of days between Game 3 and Game 4 to settle down, get some rest and get some practice time in was time very well spent.
Brian, I'm just curious, in terms of being in this position, it's the first time in the postseason that Henderson is in this spot where, it is an elimination game for them. What's the mood and the mindset right now of the team?
Upbeat. It was a good practice day to day. I think it was good for the guys again to have a little bit of rest. Yesterday they had a bit of a team builder, so everyone's mind is in a good spot. I think that's the benefit too of a shorter series, 5 games as opposed to 7. That you find your back against the wall. And this is me making sense of it all. I don't know that I'm right, but something about being in a must-win situation in a 7-game series where you've lost 3 games, there almost feels like a greater sample size to put yourself in that position where maybe there's a little bit more of adversity you need to push against. Hey, we've lost 3 games. We need to find a way. When you're down 2-1 and your back is against the wall, yeah, that's unfortunate. Your back is against the wall a little bit quicker than you'd like. But at the same time, there's not a huge, chasm of misfortune or mistakes that put you in that position. No, we were knotted up. We had a big momentum win in Game 2 that put us on the road with a chance to pull ahead. They won Game 3 and we didn't. So I think that for players makes it a little easier not to get too panicked or too concerned about what a must-win situation in Game 4 means. The margin of error that put them in this position now is 1 game. Now, they've got to be a lot better in Game 4 than they were in Game 3, and I think that's something that they're well aware of. But it isn't a litany of mistakes that's now put them in this position. It was 1 game where they weren't quite as energetic or sharp as they needed to be.
And this is why you want your American Hockey League affiliate, your ECHL affiliate, involved in the postseason, because these are really big learning moments for the Bowmans and the Uchas and the Connollys and the Limbaums.
For sure, Darren. I think another good lesson that comes from this too, and again, it's not just lessons. You're looking to win, and throughout this as well. Trent Miner has 2 shutouts in 3 games, and that can kind of overshadow the fact that Carl Lindbaum has been absolutely sensational, and he was great in Game 3 as well. Again, 2 of the goals given up in the second period of Game 3 were goals he had no chance on off of turnovers. So it's he's been the regular old Carl Lindbaum, which is also why you feel good going into any game that you need to find a way to win. But as part of the experience and the growth that comes with all of this, Darren, and what it's going to take to get this series to a Game 5, because again they're going to have to win 2 straight in Colorado, which is a tall order, but certainly doable. Something the Silver Knights are facing in this playoff series, I think it's something that we saw in Game 3. Silver Knights had a lot of comeback wins in the second since the All-Star break. During that incredible run, they were 21-4-4. And there were some games where they did not have their best, or they weren't their sharpest in the first period. But as the game went on, they settled in, they found their stride, they scored a couple of goals in a span of 2 or 3 minutes to put themselves back in a game, and they found a way to chip away. What they're facing in Colorado that is different than maybe Tucson or San Jose or Calgary is this isn't a team that beats themselves. They're not going to take 2 penalties 30 seconds apart in the third period on most nights. They're not going to make those errors. This is a team that has, Keaton Middleton and Jacob McDonald on the back end and Jack Ashawn. They have Jason Megna and TJ Tynan up front. They're human like any other team. But I've said for the last 2 months, this Silver Knights team, if you open the door a crack, they're going to kick it down. And in this series, Colorado has not opened the door a crack. The Silver Knights had 1 power play on Wednesday, and it's not that they should have had 6. They didn't have the puck enough to draw more than that. They had 1 power play in Game 1. So you talk about the experience of players playing in this situation. Yes, it's learning to play in the playoffs. Yes, it's learning to handle pressure situations. I think there's also a lot to be learned. And again, not as a moral victory. No, they're going to learn this lesson if it's how they're going to find a way to win this series, is that when a team doesn't give you much, and it's not just in terms of real estate, it's intellectual. When they're not going to make the mistakes for you, all right then, how disciplined, how buckled down, how detail-oriented can you be to fight that mentality back and forth? If they're not going to make the mistake, you better not make the mistake either. And in Game 3, the Silver Knights made a couple too many. That's something that has to be rectified for Game 4.
Brian McCormick is the voice of the Henderson Silver Knights. Game 4 of the second-round series against the Colorado Eagles coming up tomorrow night in Loveland, Colorado. The Golden Knights affiliate right now facing elimination in that series, down 2-1.
So when you look at, game number 4, where are the areas, or what are the 2 or 3 areas where the Henderson Silver Knights need to impose their will and find their game against Colorado?
Well, the start for sure, and not just the start of the first period, the start of both periods, coming out of the gates and trying to tilt the ice a little bit. It's something that they did very well on home ice during the first portion of these playoffs and in Game 2. So, if you're the Silver Knights and you have one shot on goal or no shots on goal 9 minutes into the first period, you've already taken on enough water and enough pressure to put a lot of weight on your defense and on Carl Lindbaum. So that's certainly something you want to avoid. Get to your forecheck game, get to your dump and chase game. And I think this is a Silver Knights team also that, there were a lot of blue line turnovers, and that's, again, understandable against a good defense that is aggressive at its own blue line. The transition game, again, had them just reacting and trying to bail out a lot more than they were dictating the pace. So I think this Silver Knights team does so well when they're getting pucks deep, making teams work, putting a little bit of crash and bang in. It's been a very, very physical series through 3 games. I'm sure the Silver Knights would like to impose more of that from their side of it. And again, that's how you're going to force mistakes on the other side of the ledger and create those errors around Trent Miner, who, again, made 20 saves in Game 3. Was good when he had to be, but he didn't have to be that good until midway through the third period. More traffic. Today's practice, a lot of flow, a lot of bodies to the front, a lot of, wave 1 shot, wave 2 point shot redirect. It was definitely seemed to be an emphasis on let's get more bodies to the middle because, again, for the 2 shutouts that Trent Miner has in this series, and he's been very, very good. He's been very good. But for the 2 shutouts that he has, Game 1 and Game 3 combined, he faced 38 shots. And certainly it's going to take a little bit more volume than that to get a goaltender who's very much on his game, off his game.
During the first round series in which the Henderson Silver Knights swept, they were able to have some days off, which allowed Trevor Connolly and Braden Bowman to be recalled up to the Vegas Golden Knights, and they were on the road, took part in a couple of practices with Vegas when they were taking on the Utah Mammoth. Things have shifted. They're back with the HSK, but Dylan Coughlin's been recalled after Jeremy Lauzon went down at the end of that Utah series for Vegas. And Dylan Coughlin's going to draw in tonight for the Vegas Golden Knights, make his Stanley Cup playoff debut with the VGK. Give us an idea of what Coughlin brings to the VGK lineup tonight.
Well, and that's an interesting thing to mention too, because of course the Silver Knights have been without Coughlin, and so they were without him for Game 2, and the Eagles were without Jack Ashawn. He was held out of the lineup. He's a first-team AHL defenseman for Colorado, and the Silver Knights won that game. In Game 3, Ashawn came back to the Eagles. Silver Knights, of course, are still without Dylan Coughlin. So you do notice that absence with one team getting a blue liner back and the other team not. But for Dylan Coughlin, I mean, Golden Knight fans know what he's capable of. He's just a terrific 200-foot defenseman. He's got one of the hardest shots you'll ever see. He led the Silver Knights in goal scoring from the back end this season. But at the same time, he doesn't cheat to do that. He's not looking to lead the rush. He's got a very heavy shot from the back end. He knows how to get it through. He knows how to open up enough space for him to, he doesn't have to wrist it through. He can get everything behind it and get it to the goal line. But on the other end, he blocks shots to the point sometimes where you wish he wouldn't. The coaches aren't saying that, but when you see Dylan Coughlin block 3 shots off the ankle in a penalty kill, you're like, knock it off. But he will do all things. And at the same time is very defensively responsible, plays odd man rush as well. He's extremely dependable, and for that it's been a difficult player to be without during this series. Now, the Silver Knights have a wealth on the back end with Jacob Magna, Jeremy Davies, Lucas Cormier. They can manage that. But Dylan Coughlin missing has been a meaningful piece for the HSK, but he's gone because he's a very capable piece for John Tortorella to plug in where he needs to.
If you were to try to describe or just give an idea of the shot from Coughlin, because you can say that he's got a cannon, you can say it explodes off of his stick, but very few people shoot the puck the way that Dylan Coughlin does.
Well, yeah, Ryan, he shoots the puck hard enough that he can beat a goaltender clean from above the circles with no traffic. I mean, that's probably the best way to describe it. There's a lot of guys who can shoot the puck hard, but if you have a goaltender who can get there, get square, and have very little traffic to fight through, it's what you would say, quote unquote, a save that you should have at the AHL level at the very least. Dylan Coghlan will, especially off a one-timer, if that goaltender has to move, 2 feet, that's enough of him not being set to give Dylan Coghlan a chance to beat him clean. So he's got tremendous release, and that's where it's it's a multifaceted benefit on the power play. He's either scoring on that shot, he's creating havoc down low off of a rebound, or he caught somebody in the ankle, and now it's a 5-on-3 for a few seconds. So certainly a heavy-handed one-timer for Dylan Coghlan. And again, his usage for the VGK is probably not what the usage for the HSK is, but that's where you can trust him defensively as well. And he's got a maturity at this stage of his career, this second tour of duty he's having with the Golden Knights. He's a different player and a much more heady, responsible defensive player who understands that he needs to impact both sides of the ice to be of good use to the Golden Knights.
I saw him the other day after he'd been recalled in his first time on the ice with the VGK, and big smile. I mean, there was nobody even around him, and he was just smiling, and I thought that's pretty cool. He knows what this opportunity is.
He is a happy-go-lucky guy, too. He's got a great attitude. He's a good vet in that way, too. He's very easy to talk to and is a good motivator. He was telling me on the bus ride when we were going from rink to the hotel in Milwaukee, I don't know how it came up. I just offhandedly said that I'd never seen Cars, the Pixar movie, and he was offended that I was not aware, and he started trying to explain to me the depth of the characters of Cars. So I still haven't followed up my end of the bargain. I was supposed to have watched it by now, but we've just been so darn busy. But I'm not even going to say he's the foremost expert on the subject, because he was acting like it was very common knowledge everyone should be privy to. But he did give me a quick lesson on Lightning McQueen.
Have you listened to the Cars?
Are you asking if I watched the movie with?
No, the band, the
just
Cars.
Listen from the other room.
We got the movie, and then we've got the band.
There's a band called the Cars.
Yes.
What do they sing?
Come on.
I'm pretty well versed. I'm pretty well versed in old guy music, and I have no idea what this is.
Wow, this is amazing. So you're anti-automobile, obviously.
I mean, I do business with them. I rented one for the weekend.
They're part of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well, if you would sing a few bars, I might be more. We went to the Rockies game yesterday, myself and a couple of other media and equipment staffers, and it was my playlist, an hour to the ballpark and an hour back to the hotel, and no one stayed awake for my music. So I clearly need help. I need assistance. I need suggestions. So I should load up on the Cars, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, Drive is their biggest hit, but part of my mixtape.
Yes.
My mixtape.
It sounds like low-hanging fruit for them.
My mixtape staple back in the day. Yeah, listen.
There you go.
You feeling it all?
Feel like Ferris Bueller.
This sounds like 7 different songs I might have heard a bit of before walking through the shoe section at Nordstrom's.
Don't walk in the vocals.
This is Drive?
Yes.
All right, what does Park sound like?
That was funny. That's beautiful. Now, we better get it off before we get.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to podcast.
Is there anything you want to ask me today?
Is there anything I want to ask you?
Yeah, I've spent a whole winter asking you questions. Not once have you ever asked, how are you doing today, Mallard? What's up today? Everything good in your life? Not once. So I'm giving you the opportunity.
I'm pretty sure my response every time you welcome me on the show is, "How's it going, guys?"
That is your response every time.
50 times. I think I've asked you 50 times how you're doing. You've blown past it each time and just started like I'm on the stand every time I'm with you guys. I'm admitting to things that aren't even on trial.
Put up your right hand.
I'm holding the phone in my right hand.
Really? You don't do it on speaker? Like the person on the bus or the subway that's always having those conversations on speaker?
Yeah, I don't put it on speaker. I'm afraid this is privileged information. Not everyone can hear us unless they're. I don't want to hurt the ratings. But no, I do have a question for you, Darren. Going into Game 3 of this VGK Anaheim series, what is the key? I'm sure that was the first 20 minutes of the show, but I was not listening. So what has to happen tonight for VGK success?
More ozone time, more puck possession, and in the words of John Tortorella, if we have the puck, they don't. I think that's it in a nutshell. You have so perfectly and succinctly, in 3 sentences, pretty much summed up everything I just said over the last 20 minutes. So I apologize to the listeners. We could have saved you a lot of time. We could have listened to more Cars. I'm telling you, you put it on your
we don't have to
playlist.
do
You'll
that.
like it. You'll like them. They got a handful of hits. It's good.
Oh boy.
Oh, this is them?
Yes.
Yes, this is them.
Okay. I've skipped over a lot of Cars.
We're going to parallel park this segment. I apologize, but we will listen tomorrow. AM 12:30, the game tomorrow night?
Yep, 5 o'clock Pacific time. We'll be ready to go.
All right. There's Brian McCormick. Have a great call tomorrow, and hopefully we can push this thing to when is Game 5, if necessary?
Game 5 would be Sunday, so it'll be back-to-back if necessary.
All right. Be good, my friend. Love you.
Thanks, guys. Always fun.
Never asks me a question. Never really cares about me, but I love the guy.
Asks you a question every single day.
But he doesn't mean it. It's just one of those things.
He does mean it.
No.
You're sitting here saying that Brian McCormick doesn't mean what he
does
says?
not mean it.
He's not
It's like,
disingenuous.
I pass like 20 people in the hallway a day who go, "Hey, how's it going?"
That's you.
And if I stop and start telling them how it's going, they're already like 20 feet gone. They don't actually mean it. That's the same way with Brian McCormick asking how you doing.
Wow.
Like Ashley Bice,
That's mean.
she would say when she says how you doing, she listens. Brian McCormick, he doesn't really care. He doesn't when he says that. It's like just how's it going, guys? He knows that I'm not going to get into it. That I want to talk hockey. But he'll text me. He'll text me within the next 2 minutes and say that was a great hit. He loves coming on, but he doesn't really care how I'm doing.
Maybe next week when you bring him on and he says, "How you doing?" you tell him. Just open up to him. Let him take the opportunity
I need
to show you that he's genuine.
I need for him to want to know how I'm doing. That's what I need.
You want him to want to do the dishes? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. There's one person that does the dishes. There's another person that finds excuses not to do the dishes. He's that person that finds excuses. We'll come back and we'll set up hour number 2 of the VGK Insider Show on Fox Sports Las Vegas.
Spell.
You're listening to the VGK Insider Show.
Golden Knights Anaheim Ducks Game 3 tonight. The series is tied up at 1. Thanks to Brian McCormick for joining us, even though he doesn't really care about me. That game tomorrow night from Loveland on AM 12:30. The game, the Henderson Silver Knights trying to stay alive in that best-of-5 series. So some great action all around the Las Vegas Valley following your favorite team. Tonight, the Golden Knights will try to get a little more offensive push towards the Anaheim Ducks goal, and that is something that John Tortorella has talked about. Need to have the puck more. Part of the conversation this morning, the media availability, was Dave Gosher. He's going to join us in hour number 2 of the VGK Insider Show.
I always like talking to Dave. I'm a big fan of Dave Gosher, so it'll be nice to get him on. Give him a break from joining me on pregame show every now and again, and he'll join us on the Insider Show, so it'll be fun.
Caden Korczak comes out for Dylan Coughlin tonight. In the words of John Tortorella, just said Korczak struggled a little bit in certain areas, but hasn't been terrible. They just want to make a change and go with it. I think this is more to speak to the offensive side of things and try to get a threat, more of a threat in all 3 of your defensive pairs. Loved what Noah Hannafin said this morning, though. He said that they have to be on their toes, have to be aggressive, harder to play against with the puck and without the puck. Just a little more jam in their game for game number 3 without spending time in the penalty box.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think discipline is going to be incredibly important in this game for the Golden Knights. They've done a tremendous job on the kill, but you don't want to extend that as much as it has been over the first 2 games. But, I think for Vegas, they are a a big team. They can be physical. They can lean and wear down an opponent, and they can do it without taking penalties. You'd love to see that in Game 3.
I got a stat in their penalty kill for you coming up in hour number 2. It'll blow your mind. Like, as good as they've been, the stat will take it up a couple of notches. Like, I bring it. I do research. I do all kinds of looking into the numbers for this radio show. People don't know how committed I am. Truly. They think it just comes naturally to me. Do a lot of work. Hour number 2 of the VGK Insider Show coming up. Fox Sports Las Vegas. I'm good.
Live from the Treasure Island, this is the VGK Insiders Show.
Carlson gets a fresh kick from the bench. Eichel holding, wrist shot, score! Jack Eichel let it go from out high. It's a power play goal.
With Darren Millard and Ryan Wallace on Fox Sports Las Vegas.
VGK Insider Show. Cruising along. We got a half hour to go. We're preempted, losing 30 minutes today to the early face-off in Anaheim and giving all the room available to the VGK pregame show on Fox Sports Las Vegas with Ryan Wallace. It's Darren Millard in Studio 31. We'll have the Scripps TV pregame show coming up at 6 o'clock. Ashley Weiss will be here along with Darren Elliott. And also joining us from Southern California will be Dave Gosher, who joins us on the telephone right now. What's happening over at the Honda Center? Paint me a picture, Mr. Gosher.
All right, Mallard, I'm standing here right now. I'm looking at a Zamboni, and I'm looking at another Zamboni that just got done doing a little work on the ice, and a bunch of lockers here out in the bowels of the currently being renovated Honda Center. So, yeah, it's exciting. If that doesn't get you pumped for Game 3, I don't know what will.
That's an old building. It's been around a long time.
I just said to somebody, Darren, and I say in all seriousness, they're in the midst of a massive renovation, like this whole, it's called OC Vibe, Orange County Vibe. So they're building hotels and offices and all around the rink, but they're also renovating the rink as part of that. And it's got to be 30 years old, right? All of that. I mean, the Ducks came in 93, I think, 93, 94. So, yeah, you're talking 30-plus years. So, yeah, it's probably, in need of it. And but, yeah, it's a big work in progress, and it kind of continues to be.
Do you think if Chance and Wild Wing ever got face-to-face,
I don't know.
Do you think they
probably
go at it?
Would.
Or just stare each other down? Kind of like you and I. We just kind of stare each other down a little bit. But I think Wild Wing and Chance, they go at her.
We usually keep our thoughts to ourselves, which is probably a good thing. But I think Chance and Wild Wing would have I'd be great if they had a no rules, fight to the finish, no time limit, steel cage match. I think that would be pretty cool.
Have you seen the T-shirts that the Arsenal has up right now for the second round? Chance, he's got a mallard duck in his mouth. There's ducks flying around. It's really cool.
Do you get any sort of a kickback on that?
No. They didn't even ask me.
No.
Didn't even ask me.
Oh. They informed you. They didn't ask you. They informed you.
I just saw them as I was walking up to the radio booth here at Studio 31. So you were down there with Torts this morning. What kind of vibe you getting out of the VGK?
Well, I think a pretty good one, Mallard. But I gotta, it's not the last couple of days. I mean, they haven't played to their standard in the series, and I think they feel to a degree they're fortunate to be tied. It looks like they're going to start tonight with how they finished the Game 2 the other night, which is putting, William Karlsson up in the top 6 between Brett Howden and Mitch Marner. But I think they feel they have to be a lot better in a variety of areas of their games. They haven't had the puck a lot. They haven't been able to sustain a lot offensively in terms of scoring chances. I had it at, I looked at something earlier today. Through the second period the other night, they had 4 slot chances. Well, that's not nearly enough. So, I think they need some more out of their best players. That's kind of been some of the talk this morning. And having said that, they're still in a really good spot. But I think they realize that, to beat Utah was one thing. Anaheim's a better team and a deeper team and a bigger team. And they're going to have to, I think they kind of like the fact they're on the road a little bit. That was mentioned by Torts and a couple of the guys this morning. And, you hear that a lot this time of year of trying to kind of take away all the distractions, and hopefully that, puts them in a good spot tonight too.
Dave Gosher with us on the VGK Insider Show ahead of Game 3 between Anaheim and Vegas on Fox Sports Las Vegas.
Dave, Torts has obviously talked about just not having the puck enough in the offensive zone. What does it look like for the Golden Knights in terms of getting that? Like, what areas do they need to be better, and how do they get more of that offensive zone time?
I think they need to win more battles, Ryan, and I think that's at both ends of the ice. In their own end, win battles, get the puck in the hands of the forwards and get up the ice. Same thing in the offensive zone. I think one of the strengths of this team is their ability to win battles kind of below the hash marks. They haven't done enough of that. It's been way too much one and done. So, when he says we don't have the puck enough, he also has said we have not won enough battles to have the puck enough. So, and I hope they can ramp up their intensity a little bit. I do think, guys, I think there was such a weird start to Game 2 the other night, where they were shorthanded for 8 of the first 10 minutes of the game. I think it had an impact the rest of the night. I think it just put them out of whack to a certain extent. Guys, I think Nick Dowd played 7 minutes in the first period. He plays about 12 to 13 minutes a game. Yeah. So you kill a lot of penalties.
And that means other guys aren't playing.
Yes, and other guys are sitting. Exactly right, Mallard. Shea Theodore's had to kill a bit more with the injury to Jeremy Lauzon. Hey, look, all that being said, I think they try to take the positives of they have not, the best game they played in the playoffs, to me, was Game 6 against Utah. So far, they haven't been able to replicate that, but as I say, they're still putting themselves in a really good spot.
Dave Gosher with us on Fox Sports Las Vegas, the VGK Insider Show ahead of Game 3. This best-of-7 series is tied up at 1. Trying to create a few more chances. Shots are down series to series for the Vegas Golden Knights. So it would go that their expected goals and their offense is down. One thing though, like Jack Eichel's right there on his playoff average. You'd like to get him bumped up, feeling better about himself, but putting Stone, based on some line rushes that we saw this morning, reuniting Stone, Barbashev, and Jack, and I'd look for that chemistry to jump out if you're looking for a little bit of pop.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Mallard. I mean, those guys have been so good when they have been together, and I look, they need something to happen good offensively. They have, as a team, 2 even strength goals in the 2 games, so they need whatever that chemistry is going to be. I'm curious to see a full game, if it lasts a full game, of Karlsson with Howden and Marner. Mm-hmm. But I think with Jack and Stone and Barbashev, I mean, you can make an argument Barbashev's been their most consistent player in the playoffs. The fourth line has probably been their most consistent line. Now, that's probably a good thing and a not-so-good thing. I think they need to find some ways to get some more out of their top 6. That hasn't happened so far. Obviously, Karlsson and Howden had some good chemistry with, they were together in the playoffs last year. And, it's funny, Mallard, I was talking to Brett this morning, and he said the only time him and Karlsson played together this year was the game Karlsson got hurt in November 8th against Carolina. Howden scored a goal set up by Karlsson, and then Wild Bill was gone for a long, long time. So, you hope that they can kind of recapture that with a pretty good right wing in Mitch Marner, too.
Dave, you look at the power play for the Golden Knights over the regular season, an absolute weapon. It's been harder to come by here in the playoffs. Do you like where the power play is at right now? Do you feel like it's ready to break out?
Yeah, Ryan, I don't know. They had 5 shots in that first power play the other night. I don't think they had another power play shot the rest of the game. So, they've tweaked it a bit. I do think they like I think that Eichel unit, let's just call it the Eichel unit for lack of a better way to put it. I do like having Shea Theodore up top on that unit. Look, everyone, the pre-scouts over the season, I mean, the Golden Knights did a lot of damage early this year on the jack down the Stone and then to hurdle in the bumper or across the door field. Well, teams have taken that away. I think they say, well, enough of that. We're going to try to make them beat us another way. So I do like that they have more shooting threats from up top on each unit. Because to me, once you get shots on net, you force the other team to defend. You force the other goalie to make saves. You also force them to turn around and defend and try to find loose pucks. So I think that was probably the one area the other night. They got through those penalties early, and then they had a power play not long after that. You can't prove it now because they lost the game, but if they had scored on that, maybe that puts them in a much better spot, gets their legs under them, and they could, be off and running. But obviously that wasn't the case.
Yeah, that was a tough time for a power play too, coming off all the kills, and then nobody's had any touches with the puck, and you're right out there. Early power plays in games are a bit of a challenge for clubs. Dave Gosher's with us on the VGK Insider Show on Fox Sports Las Vegas. And so Torts wants more puck possession. Is that gathered off the forecheck, or is that off the rush? How do you accomplish that?
I think probably, Mallard, it's gathered off the forecheck. I think they felt to a degree, and Torts mentioned this a little bit this morning, they have put pucks in good spots to go in and create a forecheck. They just haven't won those puck battles to get the puck back and then, try to score, try to create something in the offensive zone. I mean, I think we've talked about this a lot over the years. I mean, a lot of goals dry up off the rush in the playoffs, and that's something that even go back to Bruce Cassidy. They talked about, when they were knocked out of the playoffs the last couple of years, they needed to find different ways to score, and a lot of that was offensive zone, win battles, create cycles, and try to score that way. But I also think some of it does start. And interesting, they're going to put Dylan Coghlan in the lineup tonight. First ever Stanley Cup playoff game. Some of it is they spend too much time in their own end. And credit Anaheim. Really good forecheck. At times it's hemmed the Golden Knights in. So I do think it starts with them being able to create a forecheck and win some battles to create chances in the offensive zone. But they've got to get up the ice. It's been a bit of a struggle for them to get up the ice efficiently so that they can get in the offensive zone and go to work.
Did you feel pressure this morning asking the first question without Ashley Weiss there?
No, you know what? I think it's as good as it's gone in years.
Ashley's listening.
Really
She's got a headset on. So she can hear everything you're saying.
You know what? I think Ashley does a decent job, but I will tell you this morning, we're talking with Torts and a couple of the players. This isn't that hard. I'm looking forward to being on the pregame show with Ashley and DE, not so much you here, in a little while on the televisions. That'll be fun. But no, she's the best. And but as I say, I didn't really feel any additional pressure because I don't think. What's that line, Mallard, from Hey Jealousy by the Gin Blossoms? If you don't expect too much from me, you might not be let down.
Okay.
So I'm trying to lower the bar of expectation.
Well, Ashley heard everything you said.
I'm not jumping into Ashley's shoes. They're too big. I can't fill those.
I agree with you on that. Absolutely agree with you on that. Enjoy tonight. I know there's going to be a large VGK contingent down there, so you may not see much of the game due to your autograph obligations, but do enjoy Game 3 and 4.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people. We got, including a bunch of people from the office. They were got here in time for some of the skate this morning. So yeah, it's great. It was great to see them, and hopefully they see a good result here for the VGK.
Thanks for doing this, buddy. I really do appreciate you jumping on.
Okay, pal. Anytime. Talk to you soon.
There's Dave Gosher with us on the VGK Insider Show ahead of Game 3. I was trying to get Ashley on, but I can't figure out the microphones, the headsets in here right now. The penalty kill stat that I had for you guys.
Yes.
There's 9 teams that have had in Stanley Cup playoff history a better penalty killing percentage than the Vegas Golden Knights right now. 19 all time. Just Vegas is at 96% right now. But all 9 of those were out in the first round. Vegas has got the best penalty kill percentage for any team that's advanced past the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So charting new territory when it comes to penalty kill excellence in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and they've done a remarkable job here in the first 2 games against Anaheim.
Yeah, penalty kill has been phenomenal for the Golden Knights. There's no other way to really talk about it. They've just been so good at taking away options from the opposition, and Anaheim, specifically on the 5-on-3, just didn't look like they were able to get what they wanted And, I think when you've got a team or a penalty kill right now that is operating the way that the Golden Knights is, even if you do take penalties, you don't want to be in that situation, but they've got the confidence they can get it done.
Let's get into one-timers on Fox Sports Las Vegas and the VGK Insider Show.
Carlson left corner, centered, one-timer, score!
It's time for One-Timers. A quick look at news and notes from around the National Hockey League, brought to you by Paul Pata Law. It's not about the injury, it's about the recovery.
If I was creative, I would have had Gosher just say one-timer as a way to this segment when we had him.
Yep, could have done that.
The television voice of the Vegas Golden Knights. And again, thanks to Gosh for jumping in and his thoughts ahead of this game. 3 for the Vegas Golden Knights against the Anaheim Ducks. So 1 game underway. There's 2 on the schedule tonight, but the Eastern Conference contest is into the second period. The Montreal Canadiens and the Buffalo Sabres playing game 2 of this set. The Buffalo Sabres won the opener, and just a wild atmosphere over at KeyBank Arena. Different story tonight. Early part of the second period, the Montreal Canadiens up a pair on a couple of first period goals. Mike Matheson and Alex Newhook. You talk about your support players coming up big in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Matheson with his first, Newhook with his second, have given the Montreal Canadiens a 2-0 series lead. Phil Deneau has an assist, and that has proven it just wasn't working this year for Deneau in Los Angeles. But that pickup by Montreal midway point of the season has been remarkable. And Alex Newhook has just added a second goal for the night.
Yes.
And it's now 3-0. Montreal trying to even up that Adams Division Championship Series, or second round, as they call it in the Stanley Cup playoffs today. 3-0 Montreal early in the second.
Yeah, the Canadiens have been very, very good in this game. Obviously, getting a goal on their first shot will kind of settle you in, and you take the crowd out of it to a certain degree up in Buffalo. The play for Newhook's second goal, very, very pretty. Started in the Canadiens' defensive zone. Noah Dobson takes a big hit, but they were able to get in transition, and it was just a nice little finish from Newhook backdoor. So it has been the Montreal Canadiens on their front foot, and they have controlled play in this game.
Just an update on the Anaheim Ducks side of things. Radko Gudas has not been ruled out for the entirety of this series. Joel Quenneville saying that his captain and his bruising defenseman could return at some point during the series. He has been skating during the off days during this campaign. The finalists are out for the Hart Trophy for National Hockey League MVP. It involves Nikita Kucherov, Nathan McKinnon, and Connor McDavid. Don't think there's much question. Certainly not as much of a debate about this as there has been around the National Hockey League on the Norris Trophy, and I don't agree with that. A lot of people upset about Bouchard not being up for top defenseman. Did have the most points this season, but and Quinn Hughes not being up for that. But the finalists pretty obvious for league MVP between Kucherov of the Tampa Bay Lightning, Nathan McKinnon of the Colorado Avalanche, and the Edmonton Oilers superstar Connor McDavid.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that's the right class, right? It's the right 3 finalists for this season in the National Hockey League. If San Jose was able to push themselves into a playoff spot, maybe there's love there in the top 3 for Macklin Celebrini. But just in terms of Kucherov and McKinnon and McDavid, what they mean to their teams, it's second to none. So, yeah, I mean, listen, they're 3 of the best players consistently year over year in the National Hockey League, and you take any one of them off of the Edmonton Oilers or the Colorado Avalanche or the Tampa Bay Lightning, it is a very different looking team.
What are you thinking about the Carolina series with the Hurricanes up 3-0 on Philadelphia? Philadelphia took 9 penalties, gave up 9 power plays last night.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't want to sit here and say that the Philadelphia Flyers have no chance, but they have no chance. And you can clip it if they come back and win in 7 games and do the thing. But, I mean, Carolina has been so efficient, so systematic. Freddie Anderson is tremendous and has been tremendous through the first 7 games of the playoffs this year. And, as far as Carolina goes, I think you said it on the show yesterday with John Shannon, this is kind of the best that they have looked this deep into a second-round series. And, I think that they're really in a prime position to just get to the conference final with as little wear and tear as possible.
I didn't even think Freddie Anderson was going to start the playoffs for them. That would be
Right.
Brandon Bussey. And
yeah.
they went back to the veteran, and it's been a great call because Anderson has been spectacular. Logan Stankoven has been brilliant, the player that they got in the Mikko Rantanen trade. Taylor Hall just reinvented in Carolina. He's always at speed, and he does fit that Rod Brindamore style of just go straight north and be able to get through it. We'll see what happens if they do win tomorrow and sweep. They might have a week, as much as a week and a half off between the second round of the conference final,
which is again like a ridiculous amount of time. In the sense of you're still competing for a Stanley Cup, you've still got to play at a high level. However, the flip side is, Carolina, they rely on their speed and being, on the entire time. It is not an easy thing to play the way that they do, so maybe the rest can do some wonders for them, especially if you've got Montreal, Buffalo going deep 6-7 game series. You might be able to take advantage of that.
The Vegas Golden Knights and the Anaheim Ducks will go beyond the minimum. I love what Torts said today in the sense of things we need to succeed against Anaheim are different than the last series. So the players, the coaches, everybody has to adjust a touch in this set against the Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think for the Golden Knights, they just have to find their best game, and they've got to be on their front foot, and we'll see what they're able to do here in Game 3.
Honda Center in Anaheim, the site of Game 3 and 4 in the second round series between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Anaheim Ducks. The pregame show is coming up next with Ryan Wallace on Fox Sports Las Vegas. Have a good weekend, everybody. Happy Mother's Day.